What's up, people? This is RGC and welcome to another video. This video is going to be different than any video I've done up to this point. This highlights a special occasion, and that occasion is the completing the collection of games that I wanted to acquire since childhood, and as well as some games that I've found of interest as I've matured or grown older. My initial goal was to get games I always wanted in childhood and others of interest. Growing up, I didn't have a lot of money, and nor did my family, understandably. And over time, schooling, other situations that have motivated me and my life achievements, I've come to a point where I can actually afford what I want, and I can buy it. I was in college a total of 9 years, and I've acquired a relatively high degree, and I currently work in the medical field. That has been a highlight of my life, and it's allowed me to do other things in life I never thought I'd be able to do. I've had plenty of help along the way, and I thank those individuals for it. But this is about the games, and I want to give everybody a little update on what my plans are. As of right now, I plan to narrow down my collection further, possibly sell off some games that I don't plan to, keep or really play through. Just trying to focus and narrow things down. I find my collection to be a representation of who I am as a person. Quality over quantity. I've taken that approach with everything in my life up to this point. I see my collection as an exclusive club where not everything gets in. It's a certain caliber of games, a quality of games I want to have in my collection, and I've strived to keep that. Up to this point, if you've been a follower or subscriber for a long amount of time, you know what I do and don't like. And I thank everyone for their support and sticking with me. Another thing too, regarding my motivation for uploading the channel and doing gameplay videos, this is not about money to me at all. I've actually spent more money than I have actually made regarding this hobby. But I do find it to be fun. None of my videos are monetized. This isn't about followers or recognition to me. This is just a personal thing I like to do for myself. I've noticed that more games don't equal more followers or more subscribers. That's just a fact and a thing I see. And sometimes too, I've noticed that some people who have very good quality collections, they have less followers or subscribers than I do. As well as sometimes I've seen people who have more followers or subscribers than me, but I would consider their collection to be relatively weak. But that's just the subjective nature of collecting personified. It's just how it is. Some people get a lot of attention, and maybe not necessarily they deserve it, but that's okay. It's just how it is. This isn't about money or recognition. This is just my approach. As of recently, I purged about 40 to 50 games. I only collect for the Super Nintendo, N64, GameCube, Wii, and PlayStation 1/PlayStation 2. All my disc-based games are Black Label, non-player's choice, and all my disc-based games are complete in box or case. I've decided to move away from loose card collecting regarding cartridge-based games. I've kind of explained that before too. It's kind of easy. Kind of looking for a little bit more of a challenge, I suppose. Might go back and actually try to complete a lot of the loose card games I have. It's just sometimes you need something to help yourself stick out when it comes to everyone else getting into something. And that brings up another important point too. How long have I been collecting? I did a Q&A RGC video, I believe last year sometime, and I talked about how I really got into gaming and when I considered the start of my collecting, how it started. My first console was Super Nintendo, and I got it back in 1991. I still have pretty much all my Super Nintendo games from that time. Many of which the boxes have actually survived my childhood as well. So I'm no new person to this. I was able to avoid many of the high prices regarding retro games because I've been doing this for a long time. I'm the original owner of this Star Fox. This is complete. Had it since 1993. I'm the original owner of this Super Mario All-Stars since about 1993 as well. Actually, I got this game first, and I kind of wanted Star Fox, but I went along with the Mario game when I really probably should have gotten Star Fox. But eventually I would have gotten both either way. But growing up, I was lucky to get 2 games a year. You know, I didn't come from a lot of money. Stuff really wasn't handed to me. I had to maintain good grades and stuff in school. You know, just everything that I want wasn't given to me. This is my original copy of Super Mario World. My dad got me this back with the console back in like 91. This is prior to them putting the game in the box with the Super Nintendo. Therefore, I have the box. Used condition, yeah, but it's a childhood relic. Staple of my childhood, and I'm glad to say I still own these. As other things go too, you know, I really don't see my collection as a decoration for a room. Some people, they just want to acquire a lot of games. They just want to display them and show off and stuff like that. That's not how I view it. I believe games are meant to be played. I don't really collect sealed games either, and I think the whole grading of games and stuff like that, I'm really not into that. I'm not going to talk bad about it, but, you know, I believe games are meant to be played. It just shows that kind of everyone has their own different approach to it. Another thing, too, when it comes to me funding my collection, you know, I get paid, and, you know, I could go buy games pretty much whenever I want to, but I prefer to search locally in comparison to getting online. I find it more of a thrill to search for games locally. Now, I'm not talking about getting on Craigslist or something like that, because you can find some great deals on Craigslist, and that's kind of hunting. It's not as easy as just getting on eBay and searching for the game you want and just ordering it. You know, that's okay if you don't have a lot of time, and I'll be the first one to tell you, I don't have a lot of time. I work sometimes 10 to 12 hour days at a hospital. So yeah, I don't have a lot of time, but when I am off, I do enjoy going out and actually searching local stores. Occasionally I may find something on Craigslist, but it's been overrun by resellers and scalpers and stuff like that. So I really don't find much on there now. But I prefer to, you know, support the local stores and try to find some good stuff there. Now, I have caught some stores slipping as well. I find games to be fun regardless of their price. I'm not going to go out and just try to buy the most expensive games available for a console or system just to brag about it. PlayStation 1, for example, is one of my favorite consoles. I've had a PlayStation 1 since 1998. Some of my favorite PlayStation 1 games, this is one of them. Cool Borders 3. This is a cheap game, inexpensive, fun. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Following that up, I got Cool Borders 4 in 1998-99, somewhere in there. Well, this one came first, obviously, but I'm the original owner of both these. Black Label, of course, you know me. But these are some of my favorite PlayStation 1 games. They're not expensive. Things don't have to be expensive for you to enjoy them. And I think that's kind of the direction a lot of people are going with in collecting. They just want to go get expensive stuff and brag about it, but they're not going to play it. In contrast to, I do like some games that are more obscure and harder to find, as well as may not have been produced in high number, such as Silhouette Mirage. Working Designs title, of course, is cool. This one actually is factory sealed. And I actually did play through the game, and this is my open copy. So, you know, I do have some games that, you know, are somewhat valuable. Another example, Castlevania Symphony of the Night, Black Label. I'm planning to play through this one pretty soon as well. Currently playing through Skull Monkeys. Pretty cool claymation platformer. So I'm really enjoying that. Not much comes from Electronic Arts that I like, but this is a rare, a rare occurrence. I actually do like Skull Monkeys. EA did something right for once other than sports games. And I don't like sports games. Another game I plan on playing through it eventually is Suikoden 2. Cool game, RPG. PlayStation guys and RPGs, it kind of just go hand in hand. Other collection highlights, I'm just going to go through some of them. StarCraft 64, pretty cool. Bomberman 64, the second attack. I have 2 copies of this game, one CIB, one loose. Sometimes I do run across games at good prices, and I get a few doubles, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with having doubles. I don't plan on ever going for a complete set of any console because you end up acquiring too many bad games. N64, for example, 296 NTSC US games for the most part. Not talking about not for resales and demos and stuff like that. But many of those games are horrible. The N64, in my opinion, has a relatively weak library. The first party titles, the Nintendo, the Marios, the Zeldas, stuff like that, you're going to hit the nail on the head. You're going to do a good job with those. Those games are good, and they often tend to retain their value. But at other times, you're going to get some bad games too. And that's mainly the case with N64. So I'm not going for a complete set. So in order to make things interesting for myself, I prefer to just collect doubles of valuable games. I have 4 copies of Super Smash Bros. These are just the 3, and I have 1 complete copy. I just think it's fun. I enjoy it. That's what I do. Not showing off, bragging, but that's just how I approach collecting. Another example, Conker's Bad Fur Day. This is actually a great game for the N64. This is not a rare as in scarcity game. Contrary to belief, this game, it was a late release, okay, understood, for the N64, but there are always copies of this game available online. It's not a rare game, as a lot of cartridge-based games are considered. The game was published and I guess developed by Rareware as well, but the game itself is not rare or hard to find. It's just an expensive game. Yeah, it's one of the few M-rated games for the N64 as well. Crude humor, actually pretty good game. Yeah, but it's not a rare game. It's an expensive game because there's high demand for it. Would I recommend this game? Yes, I would. Early N64 games I have that are pretty cool. Worms Armageddon, low print run, not cheap. Some other games, I'm not a very Nintendo-centric individual. When it comes to collecting, for the most part, retro collecting, Nintendo would be considered the king when it comes to that. A lot of quality games, especially some of the Super Nintendo RPGs and whatnot. And, even the NES. And, I don't collect for NES. But a lot of Nintendo games, the good ones at least, and the desirable ones, they're sought after, understandably. They're not cheap. But I think it's more to life than just collecting Nintendo, so I prefer to go in other realms, consoles, and I thoroughly like the PlayStation 2. This is another recent game I played through, Odin Sphere, nice action RPG. Pretty cool. As far as other PlayStation 2 games, kind of like plan on playing through. Dot Hack Quarantine, got 2 copies complete here. Pretty cool, glad to have those. I just see it as a hobby on the collecting aspect, and I do like to actually play the games too. One way to really get the most out of your collecting, though, is for you to enjoy what you do have. buy less and actually play more. See kind of a rat race, everybody trying to buy a whole bunch of games and put them on display and show them off and stuff like that. But two, still, are you playing the games or are you just trying to show them off? That's something to be considered, something to think about. Okay, as far as some other games, just another viewpoint or perspective from my eyes. Some of the Nintendo games, Super Nintendo games, are very overrated. Might step on some shoes here with this. You know me. I'm going to express myself. It's my channel, my rules, my money, my time. That's just how I do it. And here we go. So, Super Nintendo's cool. I like collecting for it. I prefer to just get CIB copies of a lot of these games. So, and I've done a pretty decent job of doing that. Actually plan on selling off a lot of my loose cart Super Nintendo games. Maybe get into CIB copies of them. But as you already know, personally, I believe Mega Man X is one of the most overrated games on the Super Nintendo. I don't see what's so great about it. Yes, it did kind of kick off Mega Man on the Super Nintendo. It was released prior to Mega Man 7, but I like Mega Man 7 better. And some people hold this up as the holy grail of the Mega Man games, and I couldn't disagree anymore. I find the game to be boring, repetitive, linear. The bosses, I personally think the bosses are lame. Not as lame as Mega Man X7, but I think the bosses are pretty lame. Don't like the final boss. Don't like fighting Sigma's dog. It's just, I don't like the continuous, the stage where you fight all the robot masters prior to fighting Sigma. You have to fight the robots again. Boomer Quanger, all of those guys, Armadillo, all of those. The stage is continuous instead of having like a capsule for you to enter, fight the boss, and come back out. I just don't like that. I think Super Metroid is a much better game. Not as linear, much better atmosphere, much more engaging gameplay. I just think Super Metroid, is just overall better game than Mega Man X. Another game I find to be very boring and overrated. Zombies Ate My Neighbors. Whatever. I don't see what's so special about it. I played up to like level 30 and I just got tired of it. It's just really repetitive. It's a valuable game in CIB form, understandably, but I just don't see the big appeal to it. Everybody acts like it's one of the greatest games ever, and I'm not that impressed. So that just kind of shows you that, I'm not like every other collector out there. It's cool to be different. You don't have to like what everyone else likes. You can be unique. I'm going to go through some of my other collection pieces in a moment, so if you stay tuned for that. I'm not really trying to get off on a tangent here, but this is just really to highlight one major point. And that point is, I pretty much have everything I want. I'm real happy to say that. I've been officially collecting for about a year and a half now, maybe 2. But as far as me being the original owner of a lot of these games I still have, you could say I started collecting back in 1991. So I was able to avoid a lot of these scalpers and price jackings and stuff like that, where the games have shot up in value, double, tripled in a matter of years, and I was able to avoid that, and I'm happy to say I have. So it's been fun, it's been good, and as far as other collectors out there who've just gotten started, I think it's awesome. You're into it if you have the right intentions, but it's going to be rough. Some of these prices, I don't see them going down anytime soon. I don't know about NES. I know NES is kind of expensive to collect for anyway. Super Nintendo is high right now. Another console that's really heating up, or has been hot for a while, is N64, obviously. And another one on the come up too is GameCube. And I'm glad I got most of my GameCube games taken care of. But let's not just take a Nintendo-centric approach. Let's take a look at some of the competition, especially back in the 16-bit era. Sega. Contrary to popular belief, yes, I've said before, I'm not a big Sega guy or fan of Sega. Personally, I believe they should be doing more than just pumping out Sonic games as of right now. I think they have a lot of IPs that people would really like to see sequels and continuations to that they aren't utilizing right now. And another thing too, growing up, when it comes to my Sega Genesis, I played my Sega Genesis more than my Super Nintendo. But I'm still more of a Sony and Nintendo guy as of right now. But Sonic 3 and Knuckles, Sonic 1, Sonic 2, I played those games heavily, thoroughly. I probably played through Sonic 3 and Knuckles well over 400 times. And that's just the honest truth. I bought a Sega CD, got Sonic CD out of it, didn't really benefit from that any other way, because I was just pretty much into Sega for Sonic until I ran across Streets of Rage, and then eventually, Phantasy Star, things of that nature, Shining Force. Sega has a ton of great IPs and series they could be utilizing, but they're pumping out Sonic Booms and Sonic Unleashed and, Sonic 06 and games of that nature where they really need to concentrate on some other series and stuff like that. And hence, that's why they're in the situation they're in right now. Of course, that ties back a lot into the 90s, what they did with the CD and 32X and how they killed off the Saturn. The Saturn is actually my favorite Sega console. Really, I don't collect for it. It's insanely expensive as of right now. But I think the Saturn is pretty awesome. Not much of a Dreamcast guy, but I think the Saturn is pretty cool. But yeah, you don't have to collect Nintendo. You can collect other stuff too. So it just kind of shows another way you can be different or individual. You don't have to collect what other people collect. I hold myself to high standards. I like platformers, RPGs, some racing games, fighting games, some rail shooters or shmups, things like that. That's about it. When it comes to other games, I'm really not a big fan of them. But that's just me. I'm not trying to tell you what to do. Feel free to do as you wish or what you want to. But I'm happy to say, as always, or as of right now, that I have officially pretty much completed my collection. I have more going on than just games, though. I have other hobbies. I have family. I like cars and stuff like that, too. Kind of fool around with those things. Cars. Haven't really been paying that much attention to my automotive channel, but I might eventually get back into that. But this doesn't consume my life. It's cool, fun, nice hobby, escape from work, but gaming is not my life, I assure you. And it's very important that we don't let gaming become your life, because you really miss out on a lot of things if your life just becomes purely about games. But anyway, in short, I just want to highlight that my collection is pretty much complete. If I don't have it, it's probably because I don't want it. And that's something that I've noticed a lot too on some Instagram posts and stuff like that. You don't have this game. Okay. You don't have that N64 variant. Okay. I don't have that Sega Saturn, or I don't have that Sega game, or I don't have that PlayStation 1 game or 2 game. Okay. Well, there are a lot of things I do have by choice, and I don't have to like what everybody else likes. And that's cool. That's what makes you an individual. That's what makes you unique. And that's what makes my collection special to me. Anyway, as far as channel updates goes, this is the main point. Of course, I've already mentioned me completing my collection for the most part. As far as content to come, I'll tell you that I'm going to be doing a series of recommended games by console, including Super Nintendo, N64, GameCube, Wii, PlayStation 1, and PlayStation 2. So stay tuned for those. more gameplay videos to come as well. Kind of play with my girlfriend. Her and I kind of play games together sometimes, and we occasionally upload gameplay. Her and I'll try to do some games and stuff other than just N64 stuff, but N64 is just a real good console for multiplayer. And that's one good thing that did come out of the N64. They had a lot of great multiplayer games. But yeah, I try to get into more PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 gameplays and stuff like that. Some other games that might play through sometime soon. I have played through Ikaru a little bit, but it's not easy. Eternal Darkness, played through it a little bit. This is a high school favorite here, Def Jam, Fight for New York, great game, love it. The first one is fun too, but I like Def Jam Fight for New York. It's more dark, I like that. Fire Emblem, might give this a swing through. Not the biggest strategy RPG type of guy, but that's a pretty cool game. I do look forward to playing through it. And R-Type 3, give it a little more attention. The CIB copy. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Now I'm going to go off into just showing some other collection pieces. And stay tuned. Okay, maybe so. So I don't have whatever said game it is. That's okay. And I don't have that game either. Whatever it is. Okay, no problem. It'll be alright. There are many games I don't have, but that's okay. I am happy with what I do have. Just taking a look at the PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 1 drawer. Have a few more PlayStation games stacked up down there as well. Psychonauts, you can see it on the top. Obscure, Silent Hill. Yeah. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Peace.